Okay, and these are some questions about love, and particularly self-love. One person is wondering, how can we get to self-love if we don't really know what it feels like? Having been brought up in a situation where they were conditioned to be very self-critical and not have self-acceptance, and not really having that muscle memory of what that state is like to fully accept yourself. How can a person see past all of these negative self-identity issues and really experience the feeling of self-love?
This is where the power of paradox once again comes in. As we have said many times, you may feel powerless, but you're using your power to create that feeling of powerlessness. You may feel disconnected, but you're using your connection to all that is to create the experience of disconnection. So by understanding that you may be criticizing yourself, ask the question, why would I bother to criticize myself if I didn't love myself enough to do so? Because criticizing myself can be used to bring myself back into alignment if I find myself out of alignment. So use the idea of being critical, not in a negative way, but in a positive recognition that the only reason you would be critiquing yourself is because you love yourself enough to do so. And once you realize it from that perspective, you will actually paradoxically not be quite as critical in the negative way, but you will always check in with yourself to make sure that you are choosing the things that are truly vibrationally in alignment and compatible with who you prefer to be. It will change its quality. It will change its feeling. You will still check in, but it won't be a negative criticism. It will be an awareness of the idea of misalignment as opposed to alignment. You'll use it as an aligning tool and not a self-negative judgment on yourself for simply having gone out of alignment.
What is human love? Is it connection to ourselves? Is there any relationship, such as romantic, family, or otherwise, that's there to help us connect to ourselves and be more of who we really are? And why would a person feel a deep desire to love and be loved? Is it a childhood need that hasn't been fulfilled? Or is it just about really being your full self?
There can be many circumstances in which you can relate the idea of feeling the need to be loved to a childhood situation, but the childhood situation may only have been pointing out the idea that every single being in creation has the urge to align and connect with all that is. If you want to recognize this as a great attraction, a great magnet, so to speak, that allows you to always yearn toward the idea of harmony and alignment with all that is, then you can translate that as a need to experience love of self and everything and all that is. Because love of all that is unconditionally includes you, because you are part of all that is. And love of yourself includes all that is, again, because all that is an expression of you, and you are an expression of it. Not meaning to be too esoteric about this idea. There can be many different expressions of the idea of love. But in your society, sometimes they will get a little bit twisted, and they will get a little bit put upon in the sense of assigning a meaning to why it has to be this way, imposing a structure on it that isn't necessarily as unconditional as you may think. It's all about relationships and realizing that all relationships, as we have said, are for the purpose of each person being attracted to other people to help them become more of themselves through reflection, through dialogue, through all sorts of ways, through behavior, and each person doing the same for the other, allowing them to become more of who they are through recognition and awareness and awakening. And that is the ultimate love, is the idea that relationships are about love, unconditional love, if you're functioning as a reflective mirror for others and yourself, letting them reflect to you what you need to become more of who you are.
Okay, thank you. I want to heal conflict and rekindle my zest for life. You say to follow your passion, but I also feel like my passion is irresponsible. Can you guide me to have clear passion and to help heal the conflict within and without?
Well, we may need to have a conversation with this person about exactly why they're defining the idea of their passion as something that's irresponsible. We would need to understand what it is they are recognizing or defining as irresponsible. But nevertheless, without going into the specifics for that particular individual, if you feel that your passion is irresponsible, then you don't have a clear definition of your passion, because your true passion cannot be irresponsible. If you are being irresponsible, then you're not functioning in your passion. That's really all we can say about it, is to watch your definitions, because by definition, acting on your true passion could never actually be irresponsible. Even if someone else may define it as such, if you know that it's not intentionally harming anyone or misleading anyone in any way, it's not being dishonest, it's a true representation of who and what you are at the moment, and you're able to communicate this clearly to other people and let them know who it is you truly are and what it is that is true for you as a passion, as a truth, as a core vibration for you, then you're not being irresponsible. If you hide these ideas from others, then yes, you may be being irresponsible even about your passion. But then again, you're not functioning truly in your passion if you're being irresponsible that way, by not having true open communication with people about what's going on for you and why you're choosing what it is you're choosing. Come down to the question of why you're choosing to do whatever it is you're choosing to do, and investigate with honesty within yourself about whether you're actually truly acting on a real passion, or whether it's simply your anxiety being disguised as such and then coming off as true irresponsibility.
And what about the situation where a person has a passion for a certain career and they've been following that passion and they've received lots of support from other people doing it, people have invested in them doing it, all of those things that create a bond around their passion, and then they don't feel the passion anymore and they want to change, but they feel guilty about abandoning, in a sense, all the people that have supported them in their passion.
All right, well, again, first and foremost, an honest investigation within yourself about whether it really is your passion, or whether your particular definitions are dampening it, or whether the passion is waning simply because you need to be doing something else that may not seem to be connected, but actually synchronistically will be connected and will appear to be connected once you take upon yourself the ability to do the other thing that you're able to act on that is more passionate for you than the thing you were doing a moment ago. In other words, sometimes your passion can make it seem as if you're going in a direction that isn't connected to your original passion, but may in fact be. So you may have to look at it and include that path that may seem to be disconnected and define it as part of your path, part of the original passion, to see if it will bring you back to the original thing once you have gathered whatever experience you will gather by going off on what seems to be a tangent, but ultimately may prove to be otherwise, may prove to be part of the original passion. Remember, don't judge it by how it looks. Allow yourself to know that all passion is connected to every other passion, and it's the feeling of passion that guides you to let you know that all things are connected, even if on the surface of their appearance they don't seem to be. But always investigate your own definitions to make sure you're not the one dampening the passion when the passion could be there. So the guilt may simply be an aligning energy to let you know some self-investigation needs to be done here to determine for yourself whether you are dampening the excitement through your own negative and fear-based definitions, or whether you're actually going off on another path that is part of the overall path, but doesn't seem to be right now, but you have to trust that if it really has more passion than anything else, and you're not the one dampening the original passion, then it is included in the original passion, and there's something about acting on that particular path that will be important for the original passion as well, or will take you where you need to be. And of course, all of this comes, once again, with clear communication to others about what you're going through, because they may also have some advice for you about how you may handle the situation. Be inclusive in your communication if there are those that support you, and allow them to give you some reflections that may clear up the situation for you immediately, rather than figuring this whole thing out by yourself.
Would that also apply in situations where some people like to build companies, but then once they've finished building it, they're not interested in doing it anymore? They want to go find another company to build.
Yes,
Is that
perhaps, if again, that's truly representative of their passion waning naturally, because their passion may simply be to build companies that other people will run. That can be a definition of their passion, and creating new ones for other people to run may be the definition of their passion, sort of like planting seeds but allowing someone else to grow the flowers.
so? It just requires self-examination and looking for other ways to handle the situation so that everyone can be served.
Absolutely. That may be the definition of the passion. Not every project has to come to completion with the original person. So the idea is really be honest about what your passion is and let those that can help continue your passion in the way that serves them also serve you.
Yeah. And this person is asking about staying positive or at least going into a neutral state. Is it necessary to release your negative beliefs in order to stay in a neutral state? Or if your negative beliefs keep coming up and you're not able to move into a neutral state, is there a permission slip or a tip that you can use to get into a neutral state?
Well, again, remember what's being defined here is one of the tools of the formula, which is the reflective mirror. As we have said, you may think you've let go of all of your negative or fear-based beliefs, but if they do keep coming up, if new ones keep coming up, that's the reflective mirror showing you, revealing to you that you may have had a few negative beliefs hiding in your unconscious mind. So the very idea of having them come up is an exciting prospect because it allows you to let go of them by being made aware of them. If the same thing keeps coming up, all that means is you haven't really found the core negative belief that's generating that particular feeling. Because remember, feelings can't exist in a vacuum. So if you feel something, it means there's a belief or a definition behind it that you're buying into. This is a golden opportunity to understand yourself and clarify yourself and become more transparent to yourself, to know thyself more clearly. It's not about arriving someplace where this doesn't happen anymore, although you can. But if you're making that more important than investigating why that came up and what you're still holding on to, then you're missing the point. Whatever's going on in the moment, whatever you're facing in the moment, whatever comes up in the moment is the most important thing that can possibly be happening at that moment and is part of the process of why you chose to have this physical experience. So get into the idea of these things that come up, find out what you're holding on to that you don't prefer, and let it go by making it nonsensical to keep holding on to it, by making it make no sense to hold on to it. But don't necessarily negate the process. The process is clarifying you.
And how does one differentiate between anxiety and excitement?
I would think it would be self-evident if you're honest. The idea really is you can tell the difference. And this is why we have shared with you questions like, well, if I did move forward in this way, what am I afraid might happen? Because that will reveal any anxieties that might be within you that you were unaware of. And if the whole path is truly anxiety being disguised as passion because you're afraid to face something within yourself, asking that question will reveal that to you as well. So again, this is why we give you those questions. What would I have to believe is true about myself in this situation in order to feel the way I do, or in order to be confused about whether I'm feeling excitement or anxiety? You can put the question in that form as well. Or again, if I did move forward in what I believe to be my passion, what am I afraid might happen? And that will usually reveal, if you're willing to hear the answer with honesty, that will usually reveal whether what you're doing is actually part of your passion or not.
And what about in the situation where someone has a kind of ADD or some version of that, where bright, shiny object, oh, that's exciting. Oh, I'll run after that. Oh, what about that? And then can't really stay focused on, is that an indication that there's underlying anxiety that is driving that?
Yes, because the idea of ADD, in a sense, energetically is an avoidance issue of facing something that would actually allow them to stabilize in the present. They're avoiding the present because they have a belief that something in the present is too painful for them to experience. So they're distracted by every shiny object that keeps them out of the present.
Does the Trinity, positive, neutral, and negative, come from our limitation of awareness? Or are there any beings in consciousness in the universe that see existence not in a positive, negative, or neutral perspective?
The positive, negative, neutral perspective is inherently built into all levels of all that is, except all that is can experience the totality without differentiation between those particular energetic aspects.
And is there a device in nature that has recorded human history? And will it simply download information into the user's brain or set up a carefully curated images and videos to help elucidate some ideas? And is there such a device?
Quartz crystals that have been exposed to various cultures throughout human history can absorb and record information that can be extracted and downloaded by those sensitive enough to calibrate their own vibration in alignment with the vibration of that crystal's information. This is a permission slip that exists within you because the earth itself, in a sense, is a giant recording crystal of all human history.
And will it be quick, or will it take years to understand even a small event in history, depending on, how abundant the images are?
Well, that depends on the person and their capability and the need for them to know certain things now or later. You have to take it on an individual basis.
Is that phenomenon similar to what Darryl experiences when he, in a sense, downloads information, say, from you, and then it takes time for it to unspool in his consciousness?
Yes, it is similar. Because all information is available now, but you will only receive what is relevant for you. And you'll receive it in the way that, again, is determined by the process you believe is necessary for you to get every moment, every morsel, every ounce of enrichment that you believe is necessary for you to experience the fullness of physical reality. So you must trust the timing of how it unfolds.
And you say that our consciousness creates our reality, and all the tools and techniques for things like healing are permission slips.
Yes.
In that case, why in our drug trials can we measure efficacy above and beyond a baseline placebo effect?
Because you believe that they have greater efficacy. It's still about your belief system. Even though the placebo is enough to circumvent someone's belief system because they believe it can, because they believe it's something else, that's why you're seeing the real efficacy in the actual materials, is because collectively you believe that, at least for most people, it is more efficacious.
Thank you.
Remember, even though your conscious mind may not know what you're being given, part of you does.
And a lot of it has to do then with our tie-in to the collective consciousness, our belief in physics as they exist on this planet,
Yes.
etc.
Yes, yes, yes.
Thank you, Bashar.
Good day to you.
Good day.
Speak up and be bold so that all may hear what you have to share.
Okay, my name is Lori, and I am a regression therapist.
Oh, all right.
And
Is that fun for you?
it is so much fun.
Oh,
I just
thank you.
love it. And
Thank
so
you.
this is so relevant for me.
Yes.
When I'm working with people and I want to help them help themselves now based on things that or in the past life, which obviously are in the parallel life,
Yes.
and the future life, I want to know really how to bring more peace to themselves. It's not just, it's the personal, and it's what's happening in 2013 with war and judgment and hatred. And
Yes.
how do we get
Well, you
past
can begin
this?
many ways. First of all, of course, the very concept itself, if absorbed by the person that all these lives are simultaneously coexistent can automatically, if you truly understand that, if a person truly understands that structure, that relationship of everything being here and now, existing simultaneously, that immediately negates the idea that there can actually be a cause coming from the past. Do you understand? Yes. All the things you call causes coming from the past, karma, whatever you want to call it, is completely self-imposed and completely created from the present. The idea is you make cross connections, energetic connections and links to other simultaneously existing parallel incarnations, as was explained by Willa on her pin charts, you remember?
Yes.
And thus, by making those cross connections from the present, you are connecting to other life experiences that you have deemed, based on the theme you wish to explore, to be necessary connections to allow you to explore the energy, the downloads, the experiences that they have to give you. It's just that you interpret from your space-time perspective, you interpret those cross connections to parallel realities that you call the past, you interpret them as memories. But that's created from the present. The present, and here's another principle that if people can wrap their minds around, will completely shatter your understanding of space-time reality. The present creates the past, not the other way around.
Then does the future create the present?
No.
See, I am confused.
Thank you. The future creates the present when the future becomes your present. But while this present is your present, it's also creating what you call the future. Because you're looking at it as downline in the past, upline in the future, from the present. But when you arrive in the future, isn't it always now?
Yes.
So it's just that you are allowing what you now call the future to finally simply become your present. To accept it, that it does exist as a present reality, and to actually experience it as a present reality. So what you're actually doing in that sense is you're still creating that future from the present, but the way you do it is by turning the future into your present. Did that make sense? But the idea, let us finish, the idea is that you can actually do the same thing with the past. Since you're creating the past from the present, you can actually use the present to alter the past. Because if you truly understand that you are shifting through parallel realities, billions of parallel realities every second, then what that also tells you is that billions of times per second, you are actually expressing your consciousness through the eyes of literally a different version of you, which is literally a different person, isn't it?
Yes.
So if it's literally a different person, then that person doesn't have the same history. Doesn't have to have the same history. You can make that present person seem to have a similar history or not, but that's actually up to you. Whatever you define yourself to be now is what determines the person you are now and determines what so-called experience of future and past that person has. So this is why we have talked before about this concept called the 13th step, taking a cue off of what you call your 12-step programs. This usually on your planet applies to all forms of what you call addiction, and how to allow yourself to let go, so to speak, of that addictive behavior. Now, we are in no way, shape, or form saying that people have to stop doing those 12-step programs if that's the permission slip that works for them. All we are saying is you can also, at some point, when you're truly ready to understand this, add a 13th step. And the 13th step is actually this, that when you truly, truly know, not believe, not think, when you truly know you are a different person, and truly thus then know that as a different person, there is a different history, that doesn't mean that you have let go of the addiction. It means you never had it. And that's why there's no urge in the person that you are now, not because You've transformed it and are dealing with it. It's because the person you are now knows they simply never had it. It's simply not a consideration. It simply doesn't exist in their mindset and never has. Make sense?
100%.
Does this help you?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good day, Bashar.
And a you good day.
My name is Leano. I had a couple quick questions for you.
All right.
First, I would like to ask, what would you say to people who look to the stars with the energy of, come and get me, come and take me away?
We say, what's wrong with your planet? You chose to be there. We're not going to take you away from the path you chose. Now, certainly there will come a day when such interactions will occur, but they must occur by you meeting us halfway. We can't take you away. You have to come halfway, in a sense, energetically, in your belief systems, in your understandings, in your behavior. But the idea really, again, is that any such encounters on many different levels have already been arranged. These appointments have already been made. The only way to miss those appointments is to spend time worrying that you will miss those appointments. But if you simply live your life and trust the path you chose and trust that it will contain whatever is representative of your highest excitement, then you will simply keep those appointments. And if you have decided that such an encounter is relevant to the theme you chose to explore, then there will be absolutely nothing that will prevent such an encounter from happening. Except, as I said, wondering and spending time and worrying if such an encounter will ever happen. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
That is what we would say. Oh, we did say it.
You said it. All right, my next question is, Bashar is a consciousness, right?
I am,
okay.
just as you
Bashar
are.
Is, okay.
I do have a type of physicality.
Okay. Oh, that's another question. I'll ask that later.
I am what you would represent as a physical extraterrestrial hybrid being. Now, in our evolutionary progress, as you say, we are coming closer and closer and closer to being non-physical, which is one of the reasons why we are at a point where we can do what we do, such as channeling through one of my past incarnations, the channel sitting before you. In that sense, you could say I am the channel's future self, colloquially speaking. And since we are now at a point where we can behave very malleably, very flexibly in space and time, and since I know that all things coexist simultaneously, then for me there is no separation between myself in the present and my so-called past self, which is just another present version of me. So the idea is that we do still have a physicality. You would perceive us as about 5 feet tall, relatively slender, whitish gray skin coloration. There are males, there are females. The males usually have no hair. The females do. It tends to be white, though there are exceptions to that. Our eyes are slightly larger than yours. Our noses, our mouths, our ears are a little bit smaller. Our heads are a little bit larger than yours. But you would perceive us as physical.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Kind of. I'll jump into one of the other questions. In relation to the physical existence that you have on your planet, what are a couple examples of your highest joy?
I'm doing it right now. I also explore the idea of other worlds. I'm a first contact specialist. I make contact for the first time with other civilizations. These are my joys. There are other joys. But right now, this is my highest joy because this is what I'm doing. If it wasn't my highest joy, I wouldn't be doing it. That's your first clue.
What's your perspective on ascended masters and archangels in relation to our...
My perspective on them is something like this.
Touche.
And sometimes like this. And sometimes like this. Sometimes like this. Sometimes like that. Basically, the idea of what you typically on your planet refer to as an angelic energy. We can euphemistically say, now of course this is in a sense a symbol, but we can euphemistically say that they are the next step down from all that is. The first split off from all that is are what you call angelic consciousnesses. Does that make sense, first of all?
Not yet.
All right. You understand the concept of all that is?
Yes.
What you typically call God?
Yes.
Well, you understand that everything is made of God, yes?
Yes.
Therefore, everything in a sense is like a step down, taking the frequency and differentiating it and splitting it up into smaller and smaller and smaller pieces? Yes?
Yes.
All right. Well, the angelic realm is the first step down from God. The first reflection of all that is into many reflections. That's what you call the angelic level. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Ascended masters are simply beings who allow themselves to incorporate within their expression of being in any given reality more or most of the totality of the collective consciousness of that reality, and the vibration raises up, and they can sometimes remain in that reality, dispensing information, sharing information, or they can ascend to the point where they completely leave that reality, maybe even leave physical reality altogether. Ascension is just a matter of degree of frequency, in the same way that you could say that steam is the ascended master of ice. Make sense?
Perfect. Thank you. Yes.
Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does.
Well, thank you.
Next question is.
Last question.
Last question is. I was trying to push it. Christ consciousness.
That's the collective energy of your entire world. Just as Buddha nature is, just as Krishna spirit is, doesn't matter what you call it. It's the collective expression of your world through a single individual. Make sense?
Exact. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure.
And you good day.
I just want you to know that I've really gained a lot of knowledge, wisdom from all the work that I've seen from you.
Well, thank you for choosing to add that knowledge to yourself.
Well, it has worked for me. I wrote myself a permission slip.
Thank
to,
you.
Have my name pulled out of the hat.
All right.
It seems to have worked pretty well.
Speak up and be bold so that all may hear what you have to share.
Okay. You have said that your ship is, above us.
Yes.
Balancing the energy of the vortex.
Yes.
So one would have to assume that we are pretty much out of balance if that's necessary.
All you have to do is kind of look around.
Yeah. Exactly my point. What I'd like to ask is, how is that working out?
Well, we'll put it to you this way. Our ship is acting, in a sense, like a barometer. The closer we come to the surface of your planet indicates more integrity, more wholeness, more cohesiveness, yes? So the idea is that when we began to hold that position, we were approximately 2,500 of your miles up. Now we are 1,936.
All right. Well, there's obviously a lot of whacked out energy on this planet at this time, so you might have to land someday to really clean it up.
Oh, no. In fact, just the opposite. The idea is that we cannot land until you clean it up a bit.
Okay.
Because the idea is that really our respective realities are completely not vibrationally compatible in their natural state, so to speak. I don't mean natural in the sense of what your true nature is. I mean natural in the sense of what you have created it to be. The idea, therefore, is that since you are not in your natural states, and we are, the vibrations are highly incompatible. You have to allow yourselves to become a little bit more cohesive in your natural vibration so that when we encounter each other, our vibrational resonance won't burn you out, won't overwhelm you, won't create psychotic shock by forcing things to the surface of your consciousness that you yourselves have suppressed and say you're not ready to face. This is the cause of many of the fears that come up when people talk about encounters with other beings from other dimensions and other realities. It isn't even necessarily that those beings are doing anything to create fear. It's just that their very presence, coming from a higher dimension, a higher frequency of reality, can force things to the surface of your consciousness that you're not willing to face. And in that sense, what you're experiencing is the fear of yourself, the fear of your own power. Make sense?
Yep.
So we take this process slowly, cautiously, dispensing information to all of you to allow you to decide what to absorb, what to leave behind, and we take our cue from you when you are truly ready.